Because y'all are a group of friends, I'm going to talk to you like a friend. I can be more formal at writers' conferences where they give me a podium and a name badge, but today we're friends and I'm going to talk to you heart to heart. And I'll be honest with you. If you look at my bio and you see advanced communicate Toastmasters International advanced communicator gold, advanced leader bronze, and you see a list of places I've spoken and awards I've won, you think, well, sure, she thinks writers must be speakers because it's easy for her. But I'm going to crack the curtain and dial back a little bit to when I first began speaking and tell you that I was so nervous every time I opened my mouth that my voice trembled and it sounded like I was about to burst into tears every single time. But God was faithful because He had given me a mission and a message. He also gave me the means to be able to more effectively share the message that He had put on my heart. And He will do that for you as well. But I wanted you to know from the very beginning that I was not born a talker. If I was born anything, I was born a reader. Now, I didn't read from the womb, but that's my preference. I love words and I love books and I love quiet places. If I'm home by myself, there's not a radio or a television on. A whole day can go by when I do not speak a word aloud. That's my preference. But more than I love silence and I like quiet and I like introversion, I love the Lord and I want to be found faithful to share the message and the hope that He has given me as a Christian, as a writer. And the more I did this writing life, the more I did this Christian life, I realized that I can't say to God, I'm only going to serve you one way, and that's the way that's most comfortable. I believe He's gifted each one of us with a primary gifting. And for many of us, I mean, you're here, so it's probably the gift of the written word, but that's not the only gift He's given you. And He calls us to eagerly desire the best gifts and to cultivate those in our lives. So I'm going to give you some practical and industry related reasons why writers should be speakers, why you should be a speaker. And then I'm just going to share probably the most important reason. So you guys are getting a bonus today. I promised Tina 9 reasons why writers must be speakers, but because I like you, I'm going to sneak in an extra one. And that extra one I think is probably the most important one of all. It wasn't in my notes, and as I was praying for our time together, the Lord impressed it upon my heart. So we have to get through the first 9 to get to that good one, but here we go. All right, first reason why writers must be speakers is to be ready for your agent interview. Before you can ever sell your work to a publisher, you have to be able to sell it to an agent. Agents in this day and age of writing are the gatekeepers to the traditional publishing world. So when you have that agent interview, how many of y'all have been to a writer's conference where you've had the opportunity to have an appointment with agents or editors? Yeah, you have that 15-minute appointment and that is your opportunity, not just to sell your book or your project, but to sell yourself, because that's what the agent is truly representing. See, projects come and projects go, but an agent wants to represent you, your passion, your personality, the message that God has given you, the calling that's on your heart. And we need to be able to communicate that. We don't communicate that on paper. They want to know if we're the type of person they can work with and get behind and believe in. That is only going to come through fully in a spoken interview. You have to be able to articulate yourself and your message, your project, to be able to prove that you can promote your own work. Agents aren't looking for people who will stay in their quiet little writing cave and never come out. They know that you are going to have to be a proponent, the strongest advocate for your work. And that will come through in-person and spoken conversations. So you have to convince an agent of this before he'll ever agree to represent you and ever agree to speak to a publisher on your behalf. So reason number one why writers must be speakers is we have to be ready for that agent interview. I'll tell you a story from my own publishing journey. I met with my first prospective agent, Les Stobie, the legendary Les Stobie, who's been in publishing probably 60 plus years now. In the latter years of his professional journey, he took it on himself. He could have chosen to represent the brightest and the best, but instead he chose to come alongside new writers, unpublished writers, to help them get their start in the publishing industry. And a client of his, my editor at Reach Out Columbia Magazine, introduced us. And I was going through Hendersonville, North Carolina, on the way to Ridgecrest. And I arranged to meet with Les. He was considering representing me. He had already looked at my proposal and my book idea. So we met for lunch. Now, Les is a very stoic Canadian. You don't get many warm fuzzies out of a Canadian. And so as we sat there in his favorite cafe and he ate and I struggled to choke down something in between conversation, we just talked. And he shared some of his publishing journey, and I shared some of mine and what was important to me and the project that I felt the Lord had laid on my heart. And I kept waiting for him to ask like specific writing related questions. But we came to the end of our time together and he said, "Well, Lori," said, I'd like to represent you." And I said, "Thank you. I'd love for you to represent me." I said, "But don't you want to know more about the book?" He said, "No, I can read that." He said, "But I wanted to know more about you. I wanted to know if we could work together and if you were passionate enough to make this writing journey work." And so that all important agent interview is a great reason why writers must be speakers and we must work on our public speaking skills. Reason number two, writers must be speakers, is we have to be ready for the elevator pitch. Hopefully, everybody knows what an elevator pitch is. It's that, I don't know. I'm not even going to call it 3 minutes. Some elevators are slow, but it's like 30 seconds worth of being able to summarize the essence of your book to anyone who asks it. If we do not have the ability to speak with precision and with confidence, we're going to struggle with an elevator pitch. We're going to and ah ourselves all the way through it and not be able to speak on the spur of the moment. I was a member of Toastmasters International for many, many years, an organization I feel like was the greatest continuing education I received in speaking, public speaking. And one of the elements of the meeting was the table topics. Do we have any word weavers out there? Anybody familiar with word weavers? Oh, yay! A fellow word weaver sister. Good job. Well, the table topics, you have to draw a topic and you have to speak on it extemporaneously for 2 minutes. The only goal is that you speak for, it has to be more than a minute and a half, less than 2 minutes, without fainting or throwing up or some other embarrassing outbreak. And but so many, I mean, everybody hated table topics except the most gregarious among us. That was not me, because it forced you to think on your feet, but it also taught you important skills about how to handle impromptu questions like the ones an agent's going to ask you, an editor's going to ask you, a potential reader will ask you. Tina might ask you if she's like trying to catch you off guard and find out what you really know about something. I don't know if you're there, Tina, on your screen, but you're there on my screen. Okay. So that's what an elevator pitch is. It's off the top of your head, but you need to know your material. Becoming a public speaker helps you be ready for that elevator pitch because you are able to, with confidence, answer any questions about your work because not because you necessarily have all the answers memorized, although you should have your elevator pitch memorized, but because you know how to think on your feet. One of the greatest skills I learned was that ability to think on my feet, and that came through practicing with table topics. Yes. So number two is you want to become a speaker because you have to be ready for your elevator pitch. I work as a career dental hygienist. And so I have 10 people in my operatory every day. And most of them know that I'm a writer and they've followed my journey for many years. So a lot of them will ask me, what are you working on now? Or what's your latest book? La, it's elevator pitch time. So I can spontaneously just tell them a very short summary about my book. Hopefully it's well written, so it's intriguing and it makes them want to ask more questions so I can wax eloquent. I have the benefit of having a captive audience because as long as my fingers are in their mouth, they can't interrupt me. At the same time, I want to stay on point and I don't want to bore them so that they don't want to have anything to do with my book. So you want to become a public speaker because you've got to be ready for the elevator pitch. Reason number three, you want to become a public speaker is because writing will open up other opportunities to share your message. This is one of the strongest reasons we all must develop our public speaking skills because once your writing starts getting out, other opportunities will come your way that you can't handle from the behind the keyboard. Perhaps I'll just from my own journey, I started out as a blogger. And as I blogged and as my friends shared, those beloved friends who are the first to subscribe to your blog, mom, Aunt Jean, and your best friends, those are the ones who subscribe at first. But then when they see that you have something to share, they share it with their friends. And like E.F. Hutton, they told two friends and they told two friends. And well, one of my best friends who happened to live a couple states away in Virginia sent me an email one time and she said, Lori, I've been sharing your blog entries with the ladies at my church and they really love you. And I said, oh, that makes me so happy. She goes, no, like they really love you and they want you to come to our church and speak to them. And I didn't expect that. I just thought I was going to stay in my nice safe cave and type out my little blog posts and send them out, and I would never have to really talk to people except in the comment boxes. But lo and behold, somebody wanted to hear more of what I had to say about the greatest message that we have to share, and that's the truth of God's word. So I had a decision to make. Am I going to say, I'm so sorry. I don't feel comfortable speaking in public. I'd rather not. Well, you know what? When I became a Christian, I told God, whatever you call me to do and wherever you send me, I will go. I'm going to trust that you will equip me and you will enable me. And as much as it lies within me, I'm going to say yes when you give me an opportunity. 1 Peter 3:15, and I'm going to get to this in a little bit. Oh, actually, that's number 4. Rats, I'm getting ahead of myself. Tells us that we need to be always ready to share the reason for the hope that is within us with gentleness and respect. So if we are always ready, then we need to say yes to those opportunities that God brings when he gives us extra ways to share our message. If people read your writing, they're going to want to hear you speak. If you are not ready, And if you are not willing, then you lose an opportunity to impact people for the kingdom. And that's just sad. Your presentation and your book or your blog or your articles can work in partnership. One can whet their appetite, another can give more information. If people hear you speak, they want to hear, they want to read what you have to say. If people read what you have to say, oftentimes they'll invite you to come speak and to share. And that's a wonderful opportunity, not just to sell books, but also to share the message. And I'm an inspirational writer. I write nonfiction devotions primarily and Christian living articles. And some of y'all might be novelists and you're saying, what message? I'm not sharing Bible verses. I'm not sharing God's word. But if you're a Christian writer, you are sharing from a Christian worldview. And that message in itself is precious because you're pointing people to things that are true and lovely and right and honorable and of good report versus so much of the junk that's out in media today. So don't think just because you may not be an inspirational writer that you don't have value to bring to a spoken presentation. You do, just purely by having the Spirit of God within you and interacting with the people that are interested in your message. So when I speak, I direct people to my books and to my blog, my website. When I write, I direct people to my ministry presentations because both are ways to share my message and to share my ministry. I'll give you an example from just an example of how to do that. My most recent book, there we go, is Refresh Your Hope. And as I prepared to launch Refresh Your Hope, I developed a presentation called Share the Hope with the idea that we could take this presentation into churches, women's ministries, and we would the presentation itself is called 4 Unshakable Reasons We Can Have Hope. Now, who doesn't need hope in today's world? Oh my goodness, that's a battle we fight every day against hopelessness. Just turn on the news and you'll feel hopeless. But if you open God's word, then we have hope. I designed that presentation so that because we called it Share the Hope, the emphasis was that hope hungry people would come and they would bring a hope hungry friend. So that worked well for the churches. Number one, it helped them to minister to people. Number two, it helped give their members an opportunity to invite others and expose non-church members to their church so that they could connect with them. And then it was really an easy presentation to put together. You may say, oh my goodness, it is all I can do to get my writing done. How am I going to write speaking presentations? Well, that speaking presentation has an introduction, and then I share 4 unshakable reasons we can have hope directly from my book. Because a good written um, presentation can easily translate into a good spoken presentation with a few tweaks and enhancements. So you may think, I don't have time to do that, but you have the basis of a presentation in your writing already. You just have to extract it and then figure out how best to share it. So the speaking presentation, Share the Hope, has helped me spotlight the book because I can say, if these 4 reasons have encouraged you, I'd love for you to take Refresh Your Hope home and have 56 more reasons to hope in Christ. So it works beautifully in tandem. Writing opens opportunities to share your message, and speaking opens opportunities to share your books and your other writing. Even if it's just directing people to a website or a blog, never finish a presentation without saying, I would love to stay in contact with you and have the opportunity to continue to encourage you. please sign up for my newsletter on my website. Please visit there, my blog, whatever you have to offer them. Always channel them somewhere else. So that was reason number 3. And kind of reason number 4, which is we're always called to give an answer, because we're always called to be prepared to give an answer for the reason for the hope that lies within us with gentleness and respect. That's our Christian calling. That doesn't say, if you're gifted in public speaking, be ready to give a reason for the hope that is within you. It says, imperative, be ready always. So we don't have an option on this. However we do it, we have to be ready to be able to share our hope, the hope we have in Christ. So that's a non-negotiable. Number 5, we need to be speakers because we need to be ready for Tina's radio program or
Thank you.
or for like podcasts or Facebook Lives or television interviews. I had the wonderful opportunity to be interviewed by a local television celebrity on our local television channel recently with Refresh Your Hope. And y'all, if I hadn't prepared and developed the skills for public speaking, I would have been a nervous wreck. It was already a little bit nervous, even though I'm pretty experienced, but I was able to accurately explain the book, the message behind the book, give a witness for the faithfulness of God and the fact that He's the God of all hope. And I didn't embarrass myself. I didn't embarrass my publisher. I didn't embarrass the kind host. Now, Tina said she can snip and tuck if you make boo-boos, which is the beauty of pre-recorded interviews. But y'all, there are going to be some times where you just going to have to speak off the cuff and there's no turning back. So you want to be ready to be able to do that. You can reach some through the spoken word that will never read your blog or your book or anything that you have to say. We are in a very visual and video society and audio society. And if we neglect that means of getting our message out, then we are cutting ourselves off from a huge portion of a potential audience and readers. A 6th reason you want to be skilled at public speaking is because you want to be able to add vlogs and book promos and other audio visual elements to your blog, to your website. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a vlog is just a video recorded blog post. And I will do that occasionally on my blog because I know that some of my readers would rather listen or view than they would read. Not all of our readers are real readers. So every now and then I'll put a vlog where I will just present the content of one of my blog posts in an audio and visual format. And I always get comments saying, I loved it. Number one, they like to see your face. They like to hear your voice. Your presentation, if you can look them in the eye, is much more personal, and it just helps develop reader connection. I mean, you remember when I was just that little tiny square on the side of the computer? It was a little hard to connect with me, but hopefully my passion and my love for writing and speaking is coming through to you in this format in a way that it can't in other ways. So you want to be able to articulately share your message in a way that all your audience can best receive. Oftentimes, you'll want to be able to do a book promo. One of the nicest things about being comfortable in front of the camera and in front of speaking is being able to just do a little book promo of your own. We are so blessed to be in this age and stage when, I mean, it used to be when I first started writing, you had to have a professional videographer film something for you if you wanted to do a book promo or something on your website. Now we all have iPhones. We can set it up, click record, and we can do a professional looking promo in our living rooms or in our studies. You want to be able to be comfortable enough to do that, and that way you're not dependent on somebody else to promote your book. You can do that yourself. Another cool thing that you can do for each other as you develop your public speaking ability is you can do video reviews on Amazon for each other. Some of my dear friends have done that, because if you go on Amazon to leave a review, they give you the option to leave a written review, to add a photo, or to add a video. And if you add a photo or a video to your review, it will automatically go to the top. It will automatically get extra attention than just something that you have to scroll through. How many times have you scrolled through, a million reviews? But if you can do a video review in just, 30 seconds, let me tell you, I just read um, a new book, and I'm so excited about it. Let me tell you some of the things I love about it. And you share your opinion. You tell them, the name of the book and the name of the author. And you have just gifted your fellow author a tremendous, tremendous gift. I'm in this book launch stage right now for A Word for Your Day. And I am asking my launch team to please consider putting a video review up there and adding their vote of confidence. I don't know about you, but I want to hear what real people think, not some bot that may have, or some bought Amazon review. I want to hear from a real person who's sitting in their living room saying, "Gosh, I just read the best book. Let me tell you what I liked about it." So you have to be ready to do those things. Facebook Lives are another opportunity, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But we need to, I often speak in person, and I usually offer to create a video commercial for the speaking event. I just go out on my front porch. I've got my tripod and I've got a little ring light if I need it, but natural light is the best. If you can find a great spot where you've got good natural light, you just hit your record button on your iPhone and you do a little promo for your speaking engagement. You invite people to come. You tell them how excited you are to be with them. And do you click on videos on Facebook over just posts that just have words on them? I do. I love to hear what's going on. Oh, let me see what Tina's doing this week. Let's see. And if she's there, I'm out here riding my mountain bike down, this Grand Canyon. And I'm gonna listen to that more than a long narrative that she puts on there. I read those too, but I prefer. So you got to be ready for that. Okay. Reason number 7, speaking can be a source of income to help support your writing. This is a real deal if you need additional income. Writers need to eat. We need to buy printer cartridges. We have to have money to go to conferences. Most of us are not self-supporting with our actual books, or especially if you're traditionally published. You're going to get your 85 cents a copy, and that's not going to go too far.
Mhm.
But if you can take a speaking presentation out into the community, out into your area or beyond, then most likely people are going to give you an honorarium, or they're going to pay you a speaking fee. Even if all you get is a Starbucks card and a plant, if they'll let you have a book table at the back of the room, then you can sell your books there. And if you've connected with them through your presentation, then they're going to want to hear more from you, and they want to take you home. And the only way they can do that legally is to buy your book. And so speaking is a wonderful way to add income to your writing life. and convince your spouse that there really is something to do to this and you're not just a leech on the family finances. So, uh, and I will tell you something quite mysterious. By writing a book, um, by virtue of writing a book, you will automatically be an expert in a lot of people's eyes. It just adds a layer of credibility to you. And so people will start to ask you to come and speak at their book clubs, at their writers groups, yay, at civic events or conferences, or even just, the women's ministry event, and they'll ask you to share a devotional. Um, you want to be ready to do that. That's going to help you share your message. It's going to help you share your book. And it will also help support your writing life financially. And I will encourage you when you trust God in this way, he does so much more than we could ever imagine. He takes good care of his kids, but we need to be willing to partner with him. Most of the time, the money just doesn't appear in my bank account. I have to be part of helping it arrive there. So speaking can be a source of income to help support your writing. Reason number 8 is learning to be comfortable public speaking. With public speaking will help you gain confidence and poise. Remember how I told you that when I first started speaking, I was so nervous that my voice trembled and it sounded like I was about to burst into tears every time. Well, actually, I kind of probably was, but that wasn't the reason for the quaver. Uh, the more you gain confidence in learning public speaking skills, and the more you step out, the more poise you gain, the more comfortable you become speaking in public. And that gives you the confidence to interact with large groups, with small groups, one on one. All these interactions increase the effectiveness of your ministry. I find I heard some of y'all talking about Word Weavers International, and I love Word Weavers International. I'm honored to teach at their conferences. I'm a member of both an in-person group and an online group. And somebody mentioned the sandwich method, which is you share something you love, then you share a suggestion or two for improvement, and then you close with something else you love. So you have the sandwich, you have the critique sandwiched in between kindness. Well, you know what? That is an effective communication tool to be able to deliver constructive criticism in any situation. We're not just talking about your writer's critique group, we're talking about work situations when you have to
Mhm.
say hard things. We're talking about relationship situations where you have to say hard things. Those skills that you learn in communicating can help enhance your relationships across the board. It's not just limited to your book or your ministry. You'll have that confidence, the poise, and the skills to be able to interact well with others. That's a big one. And then, ninth reason why you want to become a better public speaker is because speaking will make you a better writer and writing will make you a better speaker.
Mm.
They work beautifully together. These are not two different means of communication. They are using the same words, the same skills. If you are creating an orderly, easy to follow, entertaining, or informational article, then you use those same skills to create an orderly, easy to follow, entertaining, or informational speech. Many of my best speaking presentations have their roots in a blog post, an article, or a book. They're not mutually exclusive. They support each other beautifully. Now they are different venues from a standpoint of when we speak in person, it's kind of like a text message versus FaceTime. With a text message, there are multi levels of interpretation. Any of you who have ever sent a text message and thought, oh, that didn't come out the way I intended it, know what I'm saying. But in person, we can enhance our words with our facial expressions, with our body language. We have so much with our movements that we can add to the presentation. So there's no question that they're of our meaning. So it really is a lot of fun because you get to put your personality into it. Whereas in a one-dimensional blog post or article or book chapter, we're limited to only our words. Learning to be a good speaker will help you learn to be a better writer and vice versa. That was the 9th reason. Are you ready for the 10th one? The bonus one that's really not it's like the most important of all. I don't know how I left this out the last time. Whoever heard this at Blue Lake missed out on number 10.
Mhm.
Okay. This morning, I read through the Bible every year, and I am on the verge of Exodus, and perhaps that's why God brought to mind the story of Moses. Because if you remember, Moses was a very reluctant public speaker. In fact, when God appeared to him, do you remember what he said?
Mhm.
He said what we should. And you know what was funny? He said, "No, Lord." I don't think you can say no and Lord in the same sentence and really mean. But anyway, I'm a word person, so I noticed that. But think about what God said to Moses. He said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. As Christian writers, as Christians, we know the world's sorrows because we feel them in the person of Jesus Christ, because like Lot, whose righteous soul was vexed by the depravity all around him, we feel that too. As we look around our world and we encounter broken people and hurting people and people who are oppressed and enslaved, not with physical slavery, but with spiritual slavery. They're slaves to addictions, they're slaves to idols, they're slaves to wrong relationships, you name it. And God sees those things and he wants to free them from it. But and you know the means he uses? He uses us. I don't know why he chose us, except maybe in a small way we can be God with skin on to them. But he told Moses, I've seen them, I know their sorrows, and I have come down to deliver them. God wants to deliver the people that we encounter from their sin, their lostness, their confusion, their deceptions, all those things. And he said, I have seen them. Come now, therefore, and I'll send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. There are some people in our circle of influence who are in Egypt right now and need to be delivered. And Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? And you may be thinking this, yes, it's okay for somebody who's fill in the blank, young, educated, attractive, rich, powerful, whatever. It's okay for them to go out and speak to people in person, but not me. Who am I? I'm just a grandma, or I'm just a whatever, fill in the blank, whatever excuse you're thinking about using, fill it in. Um, so God said, I will certainly be with you. That wasn't just a promise for Moses. That was his promise for us. Remember? And lo, I am with you always, even into the end of the age. That includes us. We're kind of at the end of the age, whether it's the church age or our physical age. We're getting closer every day. And he said, I'll be with you. And Moses said, uh, I. Well, Moses was looking at himself and the qualities that he did not bring to the equation, but he should have been looking at God, because God said, I will be with you. I will give you the words. I'm going to read. And then finally, he said in verse 10 of chapter 4, oh Lord, I'm not eloquent, either before or since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Do you feel that way? Is that like the excuse that's kind of rumbling around in your head? I'm not eloquent. I can't I can't talk fast like Lori, who's from the north, and she's like one of those Yankees who can spit out 500 words a minute. And Moses said, so the Lord said to him, and this is God's word to us as well. Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Haven't I the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say. That's God's promise to us. All he asks us to be is willing and to take the steps that we can take to educate ourselves and to train. It's not just going to drop into our heads. We have to work at it. I've been on a public speaking journey of probably about 20 years to get to this point. But God has been faithful. He has put the words in my mouth. He has given me the training I've needed when I've needed. He's brought people into my life to come alongside me. I want to tell y'all, I don't know how close you are to Florida, but at Florida Christian Writers Conference, Carol Kent is going to be leading the continuing class on public speaking this year. I mean, she's the quintessential professional that you it's a great opportunity to begin your writing journey. I guarantee you there's a Toastmasters International Club somewhere near you. They are everywhere. It costs less than $100 a year, and they will be the most supportive group of people you will ever be with, even more than your Word Weavers group or Southern Christian Writing. I tell people they will clap for anything. Like if you get up to go to the bathroom, they will clap for you. There's like no more affirmative group that you will ever be. Um, so training is available. It is a skill you can develop, just like you learn to write. You weren't born knowing what a noun and a verb is and how not to use too many adjectives and how to edit your own work. You had to work at that and you had to learn it. And you can learn to be a competent public speaker. You can learn to represent your message, your books, your projects, but most of all, your Lord, because he goes with you. He puts the words into your mouth and he will enable you to do that. Those are my 10 reasons why writers must be speakers, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Oh no, that's a cliche. Shame, shame, shame. But it is. It's one of many. One of many. And I would like to encourage you to be brave and to be bold and to just say to the Lord, Lord, I am willing. And then when the opportunities come, you say yes. Tina,
Excellent.
I can take questions now, or
Yes.
I can
Yes, we will. Number 10, she wants you to repeat number 10, the answer for that one.
to be obedient to the Lord.
Be obedient to the Lord. Okay, I'm going to say a quick word about Toastmasters, and then we're going to open it for questions. When I was marketing my first book, I joined Toastmasters. And she's right. your writing skills will translate into your speaking skills, and what you learn there will improve your writing, and vice versa, because that's exactly how it worked for me. I am a competent communicator.
Woohoo!
Me. And I don't like competition, but they talked me into, oh, Tina, you got to come, you got to come do this competition. So I finally dragged myself over there and beat the guy that went to nationals.
Wow.
I think he was sorry he talked me into
That's
coming.
really great.
That's
But
impressive.
honestly, I only beat him because he timed out and I didn't. But still, I beat him.
But you know what? That's just one of the many skills you learn is you learn to time your presentation, which is, which is like stake number one of a public speaker is you don't go over.
Yes.
You don't,
Yes.
if they contracted for you to speak for 30 minutes, it better be 29 minutes and 45 seconds because you want to fulfill your obligation to them. And that makes you a professional. That sets you apart as a professional. So that's another skill that you learn that helps.
So that's now they used to have one in Celebration Church, but the guy that was doing it, he passed away recently, but they might have had someone else pick it up. But that's the one I went to, was the one in Celebration Church. And it was a Christian group. And yes, they encourage you in everything you do, and you learn interesting information, like how many times you say you know, which can be a lot. All these pause words while you're getting your thoughts together. Okay, if you have a question, why don't you come around and sit here so you can look at her face to face and she can hear you better, because I'm not sure she'll be able to hear you at the end of the table. You can either come around on Rosemary's side and we'll make her stand up, or I'll stand up.
I'm gonna get it.
No, you don't have to move. It's good. Would anybody like to ask a question? You would? Well, come on around.
Yeah, let me get out of. You gonna go,
Yeah,
he's
you
over
can,
here.
you can go this way and I'll just flip this around.
And I need
Just flip this around, and Pastor Terry has a question for you.
You taking her seat?
No, you're fine. You're
Okay.
good. You can sit there.
Oh, Pastor Terry's already a professional public speaker. Yay.
Well, I don't know. One of the things that you did say, Laura, it's Lori, right?
Lori.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the things you did say that I really wanted to elaborate on is, I have always been a reluctant speaker. I've been preaching for 25 years now, and I still wonder to this very day, why in the heck am I standing up there? And it's and so it is a gift from God, and you got to be obedient. But specifically, two questions. Item 5, you said to be ready for radio, podcast, and speak off the cuff. I haven't done that many radio podcasts. In fact, I got one going to be published in March.
Yeah, you can do ours.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
there's one that at the book festival in Baton Rouge. They interviewed me, and so that's going to be broadcast in March. So that's the first one, but I'm really kind of I don't know what I need to do with that, as far as, and maybe I can talk offline with Tina about that one. But item number 6 is the one I really wanted to talk about, is to be able to add videos to your blog posts. Now, when I first started writing, I've got 5 books published, and when I first started writing, it was blog posts. I've got over 300 blog posts out there, and I did some audios, but I found that they were not very professional. I've done some Facebook Live with my preaching. I always do a prelude to my sermons, and I keep it on Facebook Live, but I'm not sure how to transition that into a working blog that's going to get someone's attention. So that's what I'm going to have to, I wrote some notes here. I'm going to have to kind of look at that. But what kind of video platforms do you use for your blogs?
Well, I use my iPhone to videotape, and I would encourage you anytime you do something for either social media or online, is to make it short. I would say under 3 minutes for sure, and even shorter than that if possible. I would go short rather than longer, because they're skimming. If they're on your blog, then they're going to invest a little bit more time in it, so you can go a little longer there. But I will video on my iPhone, and then I have an iPhone, so it automatically is also on my computer. And then on a blog, it it most of them will have the option to add video, and you can just insert it into your blog post at the end or in place of, much of the wording, and share it that way. I write for Red Publishing, and they asked me to do a book promo sharing the reason why I wrote A Word from Your Day, so they could broadcast it to their staff who is going to be involved in the production of it. And so I just set up my iPhone on a tripod, clicked record, and about 10 takes later, I had something I was comfortable with sharing.
Well, that's simple. I mean, I've never thought of it just doing a video of your own self. I use Zoom, and I've used Facebook Live, but just to do your own video, just offline, and then edit it, and when you're happy with it, then add it to it. That's a
And
good. Thank you.
it does give you the benefit of being able to, do 10 takes. Now, I will tell you, if you're primarily wanting to share it on Facebook, it's better to do it as a live. Facebook will promote it more as a live than as a video that you've recorded and you've inserted. So keep that in mind. And people don't care if you stumble a little bit. I mean, unless it's just totally awful. And then you always have the option to delete it off of Facebook, but that gives you, they will give you more promotion if you do it as a live. But if you're using it on your blog, that doesn't come into play. You can just use your iPhone.
Do you put your video on the blog at the very beginning before any introduction, or you put a little 1 or 2 line introduction, and then the video, and then the narrative, or how do you?
Yeah, I'll say something like, today I just wanted to talk with you face to face. So I filmed a little video sharing my heart on this topic. I hope you enjoy it. And then put it in there and off you go.
Good. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Okay, we're all good? Okay.
Well, Tina, a little bit of time left. I have a couple of suggestions for how to begin a speaking ministry, or to begin,
Okay.
the word out if you're willing to speak.
Oh,
Sometimes
yes, you go right ahead. Yes.
people say, I just don't know how to get started. Where do I even begin? I feel like the Lord maybe is calling me to speak, but I don't know what to do about that. Um, I encourage people, just like our pastor friend, to begin where you are. Uh, we If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, you can film a little video. Just do If you're, you know, a an inspirational writer, then you can share a short devotional thought, or a word of scripture and a little bit of your thoughts on it, and put it up on Facebook and just get it out there. You, in this day and age, we have the power to be our own promoters. We don't have to wait around for somebody to discover us. We can begin to get our faces and our voices out there. And I always end with, if this has been encouraging to you, I hope you'll hop on over to my blog so I can continue to encourage you. And if you're looking for a speaker for your next women's ministry event,
Mhm.
the speaking tab on my website, and I'd love to talk with you. So you're going to start to plant that seed into people's minds that you are willing to come and speak at their event. And when they're in a committee one day and they're going, oh, we got the Valentine's banquet coming up, who are we going to invite to be our speaker? Then somebody will say, hey, there's somebody in my Word Weavers class that does presentations, or hey, there's somebody in the Kiwanis Club that I saw him on Facebook and he did a good job. They need to be able to see that you can speak well, because whoever recommends you is going to feel the weight of responsibility for how well you do. So if they can see you, I have along those lines, I always encourage people, if you feel the Lord calling you in this direction, to add a speaker tab on your website, have a speaker page. Anybody who's looking for a speaker wants to go to your website. They want to read your bio and they want to see video clips of you speaking or hear audio interviews. Whenever I'm interviewed somewhere, if I can, I get the link and I add it to my speaker page. Go to lorihatcher.com and you can see on my speaker page the elements that you need to have there. You want to have some of your background in your bio. You want to have some video clips if you can, any links that you can provide them, because anyone considering inviting you wants to hear you. They want to know that you can do a good job with it. We talked about Facebook Live Shorts, Instagram TV, vlogs. Um, One of the ways I got started was I led a Sunday school class at my church, and that's where I gained confidence as a public speaker. And I at the same time, they were praying for me as I was taking these steps into where I believe the Lord was calling me. So your church family can be one of your best supports. You may even, as you're beginning, want to ask your pastor or your committee if they would be willing to allow you to do an event at their church. We do an event and you promise to do all the work, and it can be as an outreach for the church that, that people invite people to. That gives you an opportunity to get practice. It helps you make connections. That first event that I did up in Virginia, there were 3 or 4 women from other churches in that area that came to the event, and they invited me to come to share. It was a prayer conference to share at their church. So one event leads to another event, leads to another event. That's the most effective way to get the word out. Um, have business cards that mention writer, speaker. My cards say writer, speaker, editor. So if you encounter somebody that is a ministry coordinator or something, and you happen to strike up a conversation, you can say, if you're ever looking for a women's ministry speaker or a men's speaker, I would love to talk with you more. And then you have a card, and that shows that you are professional, that you are about. Another thing you can do is to notice where other speakers have spoken. You probably have Facebook friends who are speakers, and they say, I was at such and such Baptist church in your area sharing with the ladies. Well, next year or in the fall, when that church needs a women's ministry speaker, they're probably not going to call her again because she's already been. So you can reach out to them, or you can reach out to her and say, hey, would you be willing to recommend me or to introduce me to the women's ministry coordinator? So look around to see what churches are hosting regular speakers and reach out to them. Introduce yourself, drop by. It's best to do it in person if you can meet the ministry coordinator. Hand him a copy of your book if you have one, or your card or a speaker sheet, and do that. And then when you do get to speak, even if it's just, and I'm saying just, whether we speak to 2 people or 2,000 people, they matter to God. So there are no just events. But if it's just a small group in somebody's living room, take pictures and get somebody to take a picture of you speaking to the group and then share them on social media. Because once again, that puts it out. Hey, Lori is speaking. She spoke to this women's group. I wonder if she'd be able to speak to our group. And just, we can promote. And I want to encourage you. Christians feel squirmy about promoting because we know like John the Baptist, that God must increase and we must decrease. But we've been entrusted with his message. So we're not promoting ourselves, we're promoting the message that he's given to us. Now, to those of you who perhaps are fiction writers or whatever, and you're not speaking on spiritual topics or anything like that, you still can have the opportunity to do speaking presentations. If you're writing about the 1800s, you can do presentations for historical groups or book clubs or whatever on the recipes of the time or the dress of the time or the crazy traditions of the time. You can extract elements out of your book and make speaking presentations about that, and people will love to hear them. And again, that'll direct people to your book. So those are just some tips for how to get started if you feel like the Lord is nudging you in the speaker direction.
Very helpful tips. And I will back up what she said because I am always looking for speakers. I want to see a good website, not something just thrown together. I prefer an audio or a video so that they have confidence they can actually speak because everybody's not ready to speak. So yeah, those things are very important. And if you make a video and want to put some information about you being a speaker, send it to me. I will put it on your webpage on our site. So that just gives you an extra avenue where people might see it. And I'll update your pages. Just send me the information. Okay, or the link. Okay, I'll need a link to put a video, preferably a YouTube link to put a video. I can upload the audio because I upload a lot of the radio shows, the audios for those, and don't need YouTube link for that.
That's something people are aware of. If you do a video, like if you go to YouTube and you look up Lori Hatcher, you will see a bunch of videos on there, because it's having it on YouTube gives you a link to be able to share it in other places. Like, on your website or on Facebook or other ways like that. So, and it doesn't cost to have a YouTube channel. You can keep it private if you want to, but only if you don't want anybody to watch your videos. So that's the first step. You can upload it from your phone onto YouTube, and then you get the link and you share it in other places.
Yes, and I did record this, and it will be on our YouTube page eventually when I can find the time to do it. I've been really busy lately. You want to come around and talk?
No, I just want to know how to get to the blog, your blog,
Her blog, just go to her website.
just to the website. Okay.
Yeah.
Lori Hatcher.
LoriHatcher.com, she said.
And find people who are doing what you're doing and copy what they're doing. That's why I said, go to my speaker page, everything on there, and then just duplicate it on yours. Don't steal my bio. That would be awkward, but
That would be a little awkward.
Yeah.
template, use it as a template and take out copy. Learn from people who know what they're doing.
Okay. Okay, are we finished with Harry?
Yeah.
Lori. Oh, jeez. I'm so sorry, Lori. My sister was named Lori. How could I forget that? Thank you so much, Lori, for joining us today.